We for this setback and living in your license. Yeah, that would be great. Something you do. You go and let me stop. Yeah, so I stay away from. Yeah. I just, yeah, I know so much we can do. I think without, so yeah.
Good evening, everyone. Happy St. Patrick's Day. Some green out there. I didn't wear any, but I'm not Irish, so I mean, I guess I can get away with it. But my name is Mike Wilkie, and I'll be chairing the this evening's meeting, and we do have a board. We have Jack Donahoe. We have Molly Hardenberg, we have Rob Dappis, we have Emily Bouchard, and of course. Oh, I missed Jane. See, I was looking this way and Rob's head got in the way, but Jane Badgley.
Just so good to you.
And of course, supported, as always, by Karen Robertson. We have a quorum. I think everybody can vote if my count is correctly here. So with that, let's talk about the minutes that we need to review and to approve or disapprove, and we'll start with the minutes of December 8th, 2025. I'll give you a minute from which to be able to review them, and we'll entertain a motion to approve or not approve.
Move to approve the minutes that are provided for December 8th, 2025.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Seeing none, the minutes of for December 8th have been approved. Next, we'll turn to the minutes of February 10th, 2026. And the same would apply.
Move to approve the February 10th, 2026 minutes as presented.
Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a second. All those in favor of approving the minutes of February 10th, say aye.
I.
Any opposed? See,
Abstain.
abstained, we have an abstention, okay. With that, the minutes of February 10th, 2026 have been approved. All right. Next we move on to conceptual consultations. Okay. Yes, please come up and introduce yourself. There you go. Thanks.
You keep them.
Good evening. My name is Ron Komarczyk, the chair of the Hopkinton Conservation Commission, and also a member of the Open Space Committee. What I've got before you here is the Stockwell family owns 2 tracts of land on Jewett Road, almost at the Dunbarton town line. The tract on the west side in orange is lot 4, is about 6 acres. And it's pretty much surrounded by town forest, which is in turn surrounded by the Chase Sanctuary owned by Audubon. The tract on the east side of Jewett Road, lot number 17, about 115 acres according to the tax map. It may be a little bit smaller, but So the Open Space Committee approached the Stockwells when the committee was first formed in the around 2004, 2005, about acquiring Lot 4. At the time, they were not interested, but we felt it was kind of important that it was surrounded by this other conservation land. The Sid Stockwell passed away, his sons passed away, it's now owned by his grandchildren. And they approached the Conservation Commission about acquiring Lot 4. And at the time, they were in the process of also trying to sell Lot 17. The long story short, they had some difficulty selling it, and they talked to us again about Lot 4, helping them with a subdivision of Lot 17, to which Lot 4 would maybe be considered part of the open space because it's included, was originally included. The two orange areas are actually is one deed that references Jewett Road as a public right of way going through it. But anyway, so now their current plan is that they would like to subdivide Lot 17 into 3 30-acre lots. There's plenty of frontage for that. I think there's something close to 1,800 feet of frontage. And then the remaining lot, which is at the south end of that I've got highlighted in orange, would then go to the town of Hopkinton as additional conservation land. So the price that they offered us, Lot 4, is about almost 10% of the market value. And then the piece on the east side of the road would also be included as part of that price, on the condition that the Conservation Commission pays for the subdivision. A couple of the wetlands have already been mapped, as you can see. But Mill Brook does split that lot, which makes the development kind of complicated. And then where I have the word Stockwell on that property, that's kind of a steep slope heading to the northeast. Also, you can see that there is a power line right away that cuts across the eastern corner there. So I guess my question to the board is that because this would technically be a 4-lot subdivision and become a major subdivision, but I was hoping that keep the cost down for the Conservation Commission, it would be considered a minor subdivision because the 4th lot would be for conservation and non-buildable. So that was one concern or a question I had, hoping that you would answer. And then the other thing is, I have already talked to the Department of Transportation, and because this has been in the Stockwell family since 1947 without any subdivisions, that they would allow 3 driveway permits, so there would be no shared driveways required there. And any driveway to the conservation land would be temporary. We would have no permanent driveway there. On Lot 5, which kind of what we call the Allen Lewis Town Forest, there is a parking lot trailhead there that's also used by people hiking on the Chase Sanctuary. So we would not be looking to construct any type of a trailhead there. Also on that piece on the east side, a lot of that is wetland, and it also contains a colonial era water powered mill site, a single mill sawmill. So that's another thing we're hoping to kind of protect, I think.
Ron, how many acres is the power mill part where the newer part that you're gonna
Okay.
approximately?
Yeah, it's somewhere between 20 and 25. I think maybe closer to 20. I mean, because this does tie into the Brockway Road, where it abuts the southeast there. That's a Class 6 section that we could perhaps construct a trail that would tie across onto Lot 4 and then into the trail system on the Chase Sanctuary. So kind of looking at that. That's why there's that little kind of curve there. It's on the top of a bank of the river of the brook.
Questions from the board?
So, Ron, I asked you at the select board meeting the last 2 years. Are the Stockwells willing to say that there'll be no further subdivision of any of these lots?
Right now, I am not their official agent like I was for Dave Dufault, so. I can ask them, but, because I'm moving along one step at a time, doing this as volunteer as a member of the Conservation Commission. But I can ask them for you.
Okay, so just as a matter of policy, I disagree with subdividing lots for private individuals at the Conservation Commission or the town's expense. If they want to subdivide their land, they should pay for that. That may affect what we need to pay for the other lots, the lots that you want to apply, for conservation. But creating a situation where we want the money for subdividing this property into 4 lots is a bad precedent for the town, for the planning board, for the conservation commission. And I just think it's a bad idea. I appreciate that you like the property and you like the old mill. I just think it's a bad policy for a bad precedent for us to set. And I don't know. Put you on the spot.
Sure, we got.
4 lot subdivision on 150 acres. Ballpark.
Oh, that's my plan. I would probably come in and say, you know, I'll subdivide, I'll design the 4. I'll detail the 3 lots precise and ask for a waiver on the rear. If you, I mean, obviously look into it, whatnot, but the general consensus is that you're around $5,000 to $6,000 a lot is kind of how it shakes out when you do all the math on what it'll take. So if you're 4 lots, you'd be somewhere in the $20,000 to $25,000 range, just as a wicked rule, you know, just very general.
Not gonna hold you to it all,
But that's kind of
but essentially.
that's what everybody throws
We're
around.
paying $45,000 to get these properties.
Correct.
And again, creating a situation where these 3 lots could be further subdivided for house lots. Which is my concern, that they're gonna do. I'm gonna assume there's 3 grandchildren. And each one's gonna get a lot. And has the ability to subdivide that 30-acre lot further. To create houses.
Can I make a recommendation that, so because the parcels are 30 acres. Why not do the close order survey on the interior lines?
So you're subdividing it into 4 30-acre pieces?
No,
Yeah,
3 30s and a 25.
the 25 does not have to conform.
in that case, it's probably gonna be a bit more because you're not doing a 2 or a 5-acre lot, you're actually closing up the boundary on, you know, 100 acres, so it's substantially more field work, wetlands delineation, time to get around it, so we got.
Wetlands are done on site, just
Wetlands are done, so.
But I wouldn't do a close order, I wouldn't do the close order on the perimeter of the lots. Because we usually just do the interior lines and then put a reference on the plan, you know, it's. Because we've done that for many other subdivisions that are large like this.
to be clear, we're not hiring the in-laws on that.
No.
Not yet.
I'm saying
Not saying we could.
for Ron,
Good job.
for the Stockwell's sake, to reduce the price, if they're interested, the perimeter of the 100 and some odd acres does not get surveyed. Or,
We're planning on surveying.
yeah, okay.
them, yeah.
They are.
Right. They, again, and
You think so?
none of the grandchildren live in town, 2 of them live in Spain, so.
I don't think they're,
All likelihood that someone's gonna buy it, some buy it.
If they can subdivide it again.
We'd buy it, but.
The question is whether or not they can subdivide it again too, isn't it? The
well,
question-
then it will be a major subdivision when they subdivide it again. They'll have to go through the major requirements, but. I mean, I've looked at this lot and the Boutwell Brook is significant as it transacts this lot. Would you agree, Ron?
Well, I've only looked at the lower portion by their conservation.
And then I've
Does-
looked at a subdivision plan that has been done for the property.
It was done many years ago.
Well, not, well, I'd say in the last 5 years.
Not even aware of
Yeah.
that, so.
And I would say there's probably 2 box culverts for the roads. So there's a couple 100,000 each culvert. And then there is probably, I think there were 20 some odd lots, and I think probably 17 of them, the driveways had wetlands crossings. So I'm just saying that there's a significant expense for somebody to put a road in.
It's worth noting also, I don't know if we have other things to expand on it, but this was obviously discussed at a pretty lengthy extent in the Conservation Commission. We did acknowledge that the land we're talking about is identified as priority in our RMS. So it's not just a matter of liking it or wanting land for land's sake. Is it considered priority land for conservation?
How much money does the Conservation Commission have in its coffers?
Well, we had a very large donation from an individual that accounts for half of it, which now totals somewhere around close to 200,000, I think.
And that isn't, I don't think that's a lot. And they're giving us $2,500, so.
I think you came in with the question of whether or not that we would accept it as a 3-lot subdivision as opposed to a 4-lot subdivision. And is this premature? I mean, we really don't have a plan in front of us from which to be able to look at this thing and say, hey, there may be problems with it, or, they, probably at some point it'd be improved, but, in one way, shape, or form or another to be determined. But is this all premature at this point, Ron?
That's what the conceptual's for,
No, I know, but
I don't know which direction, because from what I
Good
understand.
answer on the waiver, I think, that's what I'm asking.
Right, for a major subdivision, the requirements get a lot more extensive.
Correct.
And so my logic behind this was that, well, only 3 of the lots would be considered buildable, the 4th one wouldn't be, so.
And they need to know that before they begin the work on the survey, and whether or not they need to go to the extent of a major subdivision submittal or a minor subdivision. The 4th lot, the piece that's going to be donated to the town or given to the town or sold to the town, whatever you want to call it. That lot does not have to conform with zoning whatsoever. There's a provision in the ordinance with respect to that. But they need an answer before they start their work on the subdivision.
But we can't, in my mind, without an application before us, we have no authority for which to approve or disapprove.
No, I just give them guidance as to
The potential, is it either yes or no?
on the 3 lots, and do they need to do all the soils data? Do they need to do all that stuff? Will depend on whether or not you treat this. They'll come in with a 4-lot subdivision. However, you'll treat the requirements for the application as 3-lot subdivision, a minor subdivision.
Have we ever run into this before?
Yes. I believe on Autumn Ridge, there's a piece on Autumn Ridge that the town ended up with non-conforming, and I believe that lot was not included in the calculation of the development number of lots for the purpose of plan requirements.
Well, in theory, you could make any lot.
Well, I think this was because this lot was deeded to the town that I'm referring to, the Autumn Ridge parcel.
I mean, what's the feeling?
Well, I think, that the stuff coming to the town, a lot of the town does not have, doesn't make it a 4-lot subdivision. But I think you have to do some wiggling, modeling on keeping it out of there, getting it organized so that it's going, have some legal stuff about the town getting that land and that stuff. And then have the three, but I don't think that the Conservation Commission or town or anything should pay for these. Folks have to go. So they could sell it whole and get money.
They tried that and it was on the market for quite a while.
Really
Yes, it's been on the market for over a year.
expensive to build. No, I just know it.
Jeff,
You guys still look confused.
okay. Molly?
Well.
You can recuse yourself if you so choose. Conservation.
Yeah, maybe, but okay, do something.
Jeff, are you, I'm sorry, just for the record, are you not in favor of the minimizing the requirements to a 3-lot subdivision versus a 4-lot?
I don't have an issue with 3 lots.
Okay, all right. But you have an issue with the expense, yeah. All right,
To create.
all right.
Yeah, I went to the select board and they had no problem with, well, I shouldn't say they. Jeff had a problem with it, but the select board approved it. Us paid, I mean, we paid for half of
They
the.
approved it or they nodded, go ahead and proceed.
Well, I think they approved it, but they need to formally accept it like
Yeah.
they did last night.
The acceptance of the conservation problem.
Correct. I was there, they approved it. However, they can't go any further until we get them a deed to accept it. If that makes sense, to own it.
And the deed would be at their expense.
Oh, I have no clue. You'd have to talk
Yeah,
to,
but all be covered by the conservation.
The legal fees associated with
Correct.
those pieces.
and that's very similar to the open space process. The Houston Fields, the Rice property. A lot of the times the survey was paid for by the Conservation Commission.
Yeah.
And the town acquired the property, same way with the deed. The person they're getting the easements from or the land from does not pay for the survey or the deed. It's the town.
Well, the conservation commission.
Yeah, I agree.
Rob?
I mean, sounds like there's some questions for the select board to decide and the conservation commission to decide. I don't really feel informed enough to state an opinion about those things. I have just a question, like with the recently passed wetland setbacks and the 2 mills running across the property, like, do you think there's a high probability that it's going to be developed if the town doesn't act?
But again, physically, the Boutwell Brook is what's kind of screwing things up. And which is why I think it hasn't been, a tract that size. It'd be very expensive now to put bridges and stuff like that. If it was easily developed, it would have been developed by now, so. But we're with the piece that the town we're looking at there, that a majority of that is wetland, so.
Yeah, and that's why I just kind of wonder, like, it sounds like it could be pretty darn expensive potentially, so, I mean, that's not my call, but it would seem like a lot of money to lay out to pay for property that's highly unlikely to be developed because it's difficult to develop. All that said, the question, I guess, for the planning board is like, can we live with the minor subdivision, and if the, you know, if we've kind of done that sort of thing in the past, then I don't really have any particular objection to that. I guess I would, I mean, I know that if there's potential for 100 lots on the other 90 acres, then certainly somebody would be doing a major subdivision application at some point. Although I wonder if it's worth thinking through how it would play out if each of the grandchildren decided to do 3 10-acre lots, in which case you'd end up with was that 9 houses on this property with nobody ever having done a major subdivision. Is that something that we should have a problem with the planning board? I don't really know.
You also have to consider the fact that, I'm going down that same avenue. They're not going to get driveway permits, so they're gonna have to share driveways. And, cause the other thing is, depending on I'm thinking out loud. They may have to do a conservation subdivision at some point. So I'm thinking out loud, you know,
With 3 driveways, so how many shared properties could be on a driveway?
I don't know if the state allows more than 2,
Yeah, 3.
3,
After 3 is a driveway road.
all right, 3.
So you know, in this particular case, if you have, you know, they're saying only 3 driveway permits. Then a shared driveway would create 3 lots, so you're talking about.
Well, it's gotta have the frontage on the road.
It's 3 curb cuts, not
Yeah.
3 driveways, so you could put 3 roads. 3 access points,
Okay,
Right,
so it'd be roads,
or potentially,
if it's more than 2 lots, more than 3 lots, I'm sorry. You said 2 or 3.
on a common driveway, you can do 3 lots, but if the state is giving you 3 points of access. Then that could be for a single driveway, a common driveway, or a road.
Okay,
but you can't use that, you cannot declare that as your road frontage. So I know this parcel has quite a bit of frontage, but, and then if you look at the depth of this parcel, to Boutwell Mill Brook, it's pretty limiting. As far as, you can get house lots in there, but to get house lots on the other side of the brook would be the expense.
and you mentioned that, is Brockway a point of access to the whole property?
No,
No, it's a class 6.
class 6 road.
It's a class 6.
And then they have the power line, which would restrict anything happening right underneath that.
I look at it similar to, and Ron, the Houston Fields. That is in the special flood hazard, 100-year flood. They're not going to build in it. It's so expensive, but the town preserved it and spent the money on the survey and the deed. So this parcel is, I think, run the same route.
Different scenario. It's okay, Emily? I'll say myself that.
Great.
Really move.
I think if it was the question of the 3 subdivisions, then I don't see a problem with that. But also I feel like it's really hard to answer without actual plans to really see it. I mean, you said that the under the Stockwell word is a pretty steep slope.
It's steep, it's hillside, yes.
So you have the giant water brook, a steep slope and the power lines, which kind of makes it sound like you can't build anything in that entire upper corner.
It would be extremely expensive to build.
Yeah.
Okay. I think. I'm a little concerned that this is a precedent setting situation, even though Houston Field and maybe the other one. But why, if I had 50 acres and I was gonna give, you know, I want some of it to go to the town and everything else like this. Shouldn't you pay for any of them? If every single one person here in the planning board came to you at the same time, sat there and said. Okay, you did it for the Stockwells, why won't you do it for us? I mean, I just think it's kind of precedent setting.
So if it was a key piece of property that we've been looking at for years, we'd try to find a way to do that.
I think the decision to do this, the Conservation Commission has the statutory authority to go through this process.
Yes.
Yes, so I don't think what the board's opinion is going to.
No, but I'm saying the precedent, you should have criteria that's available and published so that every single property owner understands what criteria you're gonna use. You know, it's natural resources, maybe you know, adjacent to other conservation land to expand it or make it ideal property.
Yeah, there is. The Open Space Committee, when they were created, has specific criteria. Yes.
That's what you follow.
Yes,
From.
That's. Again, this whole thing started with this lot, you know, on the west side, and then the commission. Said that, you know, for what they're asking us to do, it wouldn't work, but if we could get land on the east side, then. Consider it, and the Stockwell said, yeah, that was agreeable for them as long as they could get 3 30-acre lots.
Yeah, I know it's not the planning board's, you know, privy for much to say yes or no to the expenditure, just our opinions. I don't have a major concern of going into minor subdivisions as opposed to a major at this point. But, you know, we all reserve the right to, when it comes in to look at it and sit there and say, whoa, wait a minute. Okay. Was that?
Oh, yeah, I fully understand that if there's a problem with the actual subdivision, you know, that's your responsibility, right, to point that out.
Well, thank you for bringing it to us, but give us an awareness and may be coming for it down the road.
Yeah. It's kind of a chicken and egg, you know,
Yeah.
syndrome here, you know.
That's right. Okay.
Let's confirm that the amount of land in total that would be closed for conservation is between 26 and 31 acres and not 20.
Oh, yeah, 20 to 25 on the east side, and then you add another 6. And in lot number 4, that's over 6 acres and it's on gravel ester, so it's kind of a two prime house lots ready to go there.
And that is fully adjacent to other conserved land.
Correct.
And again,
Hundreds of acres, I think.
point out that we had similar but different concept, discussions on the Concom, and it did determine that the 20 to 25 is also identified in the NRI as prime land for conservation priority.
Thanks, Rob.
Okay.
Thank you, Ron.
Thanks, Rob. I just want to remind everybody that we have a drop dead time of summit. I forgot to mention that as I opened the meeting, but. All right, applications. 2026-2 Baystone Properties LLC. Conservation subdivision proposal 7. Residential lots and 1 lot for open space conservation. Property is located on the corner of Stumpfield Road and Sugar Hill Road, tax map 231, lot 6, within the R4 zoning district, district. Welcome, gentlemen, if you don't mind for the cameras to introduce yourselves.
Dan Higginson, Higginson Land Services.
Sean Geary.
So we were here, a couple months ago, and we showed you what we were looking to do. Karen had some comments, so we adjusted the plan accordingly, and we came up with a 7-lot yield plan that is eligible for a 1-lot bonus for a total of 8 lots. We're not going with 8 lots, we're doing 7 lots. We've added the building areas for the houses, the wells and setbacks to show that they are septics. Houses, wells with setbacks to show that it makes the 125-foot setback from lot to lot.
The driveway.
I did want to comment on that, and I need it.
Sorry.
To interrupt you, man. But you know, those of you on the planning board and this thing had a list of various questions in regards to the submission that you folks, and I talked to Karen a couple times today, and Karen has indicated that to advise that's before us have been directed to have additions made to them.
Yep.
Comply with what Karen was seeking overall. And the other bit of information I wanted to share with the board is that evidently from the fire chief and also to Dan in the town, they have, you know, at this point in time approved what they were presenting with from you folks. So just kind of FYI on that.
We made a solid effort to address all the comments so that it'd be relatively smooth going.
There were quite a few pages.
Not really when you boil it down. There was just a lot of informational stuff for you folks to kind of understand the whole concept of what's going on and such. But yeah, there was a fair amount there. So we took care of all that stuff. And
Please, I'm sorry, I didn't interrupt you. I
Oh, that's
just
fine.
wanted to
I mean, in the keeping with the 7 o'clock deadline, we've already gone over this once. We've adjusted everything and have this plan to present. So take questions from you.
Okay. Well, I think the first thing is, you know, folks, do you have any questions? At this point in time.
So number, the one right near the intersection, the driveway over onto.
Yep, so we're doing a shared driveway between the two lots so that the site distance was adequate. So originally the lot came down onto Sugar Hill and site distance would have been. It would have been good two ways, but not the third way. So that's what the road agent didn't like. So we've got that one moved over and it's just a shared driveway situation between the two lots to take care of that.
And the drainage has been taken care of as far as the flow.
We looked at it and talked about it with the wetland scientist and it was. Not an issue that we had seen.
But you're not affecting that area with the driveway.
Nope.
Correct.
So that remains intact.
Yep.
That's as is. Okay.
And in the report, I think, I'm just not sure what page, it's probably under the we'll see here. I did ask about exaction fees, for the intersection to be a T. DPW said, he's made numerous changes to various roads, Pennacook Road and Main Street, Briar Hill Road and Pennacook Road. And he's changing everything from a Y to a T when he's out there reconstructing. He said the exaction fee would be so minimal, he doesn't want it. And that, he does need to redo Stumpfield Road if money is it's available.
When money is available.
Yes, and that he will look at changing that to a T. He'll also, in our right of way on Sugar Hill, he is going to do some, anyways, whether the subdivision went in or not, he's gonna do some trimming, of some of the shrubs and stuff in the right of way, because he believes as it currently is going around the corner to go up the hill, he thinks that will prove that.
That being the opposite side of the road. Anyway.
Correct, opposite side of the road from the development.
It is true, however, isn't it, that where you're located, where houses being.
Yeah.
But they don't necessarily.
Correct, so the conservation subdivision setbacks are 5 feet narrower on the sides than traditional. So if these houses want to be in different locations than shown here, they would just have to meet the 30-foot side setback versus the 25. So they can be moved. We have a note on the plan.
So this is
No,
similar to the Farrington Corner Road one, and according to our regulations, they just have to show the building envelope that they can build in that area. And if they decide to build outside of that area, which they can, they have to meet the greater setback. So it's 5-foot difference. It happens to be.
So,
Well, I mean, Bob does a great job of policing with plot plans and such. So that when a house is built, I have to go back, a survey has to go back and certify that it's in there, yeah.
yeah.
Jane knows all about that.
Oh, okay. Well, for that.
We got a little problem.
Any other questions? Board? Okay, I guess at this point, we would entertain a motion to accept the application as being complete or not complete.
I just have a quick question.
Sure. Yes.
I don't understand Karen's notes versus the yield plan, where you're saying revise note 1 on sheet 3, the purpose of the plan is to make the yield plan with 6 lot subdivision.
So I think that was a typo, so from 6 to 7. We had 7 lots on it the whole time. Yeah,
So is that just a typo in the memo, where we're talking about a 6 lot yield plan?
EO plan showed 6 and the, then the bonus was the 7th lot, and then the revision, they could have got 7 on the yield plan, and they came back with 7 on the yield plan.
The original, what we saw for 6, Karen said the conservation bonus yield is 7.
but we show 7 on the yield plan, actually, and the conservation bonus would give us 8.
Right.
But
They're not, so they
But-
don't need that extra bonus because they're not, so they had the, oh, what is it called? The forestry
Forestry plan.
plan done. And it's no longer going to be used. So that's one of the requirements. If you do a forest management plan, you can get an extra unit. And they had it done, but they now decided they're not going to use that.
Okay, so you just said you don't move forward, I just want to.
7.
yeah,
So what it says on. the-
Yes.
Correct.
Yeah, the plot plan, yeah,
He's that. On both.
yeah.
The cons and. The other.
Okay, would entertain a motion to accept or not accept the application as being complete for our consideration. We accept the application being,
Second.
okay, all in favor? Any opposed? Hearing none, if we will move on and put it onto the table. And this, you know, regional impact, I would entertain a motion as far as whether there is a need here to contact loving neighbors in Walnut because there might be a regional impact. Entertain a motion to
Move that we determine that there is no regional impact, still students.
we have a second. Okay, all in favor of the motion?
Aye.
Any opposed? Seeing none, okay, let's move on. Sure. Okay, thanks, Robin. Yeah, we St. Patrick's Day. All right, you take questions from the board. Any questions that you thought of as we went through the motion? Seeing none, I open it up to the public. Would anybody care to speak or comment, ask questions with regards to the application that's before us? Anyway, you can just identify yourself for the votes.
Hi guys, my name's Anthony Hilario, I live at 670 Sugar Hill Road, so we're just off the side of development. We didn't see the new development proposal yet, we just got the notification about the meeting, but we didn't get to see this until today. So I haven't had a chance to review it, to be honest with you. But I guess my first question is, I recognize that one of our biggest concerns was the intersection. I guess my question is, the board need to care and answer this for us. It sounds like you're gonna redo that intersection.
They're not committing to it, but DPW said that he'll look at possibly redoing the intersection to a T.
What would the T look like? Would it be a three-way stop?
Oh,
Or-
no, we have no clue.
Oh,
And it might be within 5 years. There's no,
and so when this gets developed, there's a pretty good chance this will be developed as is with the intersection as is.
oh, yes, and DPW is well aware of that and he gave approval for that.
Okay, I'm just, in my own personal opinion, living on the street, I still think it's a grave safety concern. My biggest concern is you guys saw the stakes they put out. I guess my question is, how close the second shared driveway is to the intersection. From the first plans that we got, it didn't look like the original driveway proposed on a Sugar Hill Road was all that much further away than the now shared driveway on a blind corner, you know, and so I do think this probably is safer than the original plan, but that first driveway for the first 2 lots, 6-1 and 6-2, seems dangerously close to a blind intersection. And now you have 2 driveways coming off that same entrance. Both lots are dangerously close to this intersection, and to me, it just seems grossly unsafe. I understand that the Public Works Department signed off on it. But it just seems unreasonable and unsafe to me. I still go back to the fact that, according to the ordinances of the town, this is a conservation subdivision. The town's not required to accept a conservation subdivision if it's not substantially more beneficial to the town and to public safety than requiring a classic subdivision. So what I keep saying is that we don't have to accept this at the town. You know, like, obviously, if they have the right to develop it, I recognize that. I recognize the site will to be developed. But me as a neighbor, I still think it's safer for everybody, including the town, to force them to build a proper subdivision with an individual road and the houses going onto the road. That would take away my buffer to their property. I recognize that. I'm willing to sacrifice that for public safety. I'm willing to sacrifice that for lots that are actually a proper size, that people have a proper yard. These are bowling alleys on a dangerous intersection, one singular road coming up, which I think on the yield plan, we kind of showed what that would look like, would be so much safer and better for the town than having this conservation subdivision. Again, as someone who wanted to conserve this entire lot, I would have bought this whole lot and given it to town free if I could. This is way more dangerous than if you force them to build a road and have a proper subdivision. You know, I'm not saying don't develop it, they own it, let them develop it, but let them build the 7 lots on a road. You know,
Right. Dan, do you know what the footage would be from the, coming down, Sugar Hill, then going on to Smithfield from where the open, you know, I call it an open triangle.
So on lot 6-2, the distance from the corner to the driveway roughly. So that's 20 feet, that's 30 feet from 160, about 150 feet.
150 feet to the driveway.
That lot's 164 feet wide.
Yeah.
So you have 20 feet from the granite boundary easement. And then the easement's 30 feet wide, so call the driveway in the middle of it 15, so that'd be 35 feet less that 164.
Okay,
So no, so I'm sorry, it'd be 130 feet.
about 130 feet.
Yep.
What are the challenges that we have is, you know, and the planning board does have the ability, but we also rely upon the, you know, the various, you know, boards within the town, commissions within the town to give us information, and to the extent that Dan has said that this is approved.
DPW, Dan, right?
Yes, DPW, sorry. DPW, Dan, that we're kind of hard pressed, and the other thing is that makes it difficult to say, okay, we don't accept a conservation subdivision versus a traditional subdivision. Is if all the criteria has been met, and everybody does the sign off, we'll just, you know, we'll be wrestled. If we felt that, you know, if DPW would come back and said, look it, this is unsafe, well, that would be something that we could, you know, then turn around and sit there and say, hey, we're gonna have to, you know, change the design or put a code, whatever the case may be, but in this particular case, we're pretty hard pressed to say.
And we've met all the requirements. The only waiver that we're asking for is for phasing over 2 years versus 3 years.
and I would object to that as well. I mean, there's no reason to give them the waiver for phasing.
Well,
It's one lot, one house.
For one extra lot. I mean, it's fine, certainly your prerogative, but going back to the ordinance on this, like, it just, that, in order to get the town has the right to reject it if it is not substantial. And I agree, I understand that the Department of Public Works is everyone else signing off on it, I'm just saying, as a member of the town, I think it would look better, it would be more beneficial to public safety if they were forced to build a road. The reason why they're doing this is because it's less expensive, we all recognize that. There's not a huge benefit to the town compared to that. They're doing this because of money. And that's the worst part of it, is I recognize that we live in a capitalistic society. And the benefit of doing this and getting people to do this is that we make it cheaper for them to build. But at the end of the day, I just don't believe it's substantially better. And in the ordinance, it says specifically that the town does not have to accept it. Even if they check every single box, the town does not have to accept it if the board does not deem that the conservation is substantially better than the traditional plan.
I think the 12.8 acres that's adjacent to current conservation land that joins a large piece of conservation land with the town land is a pretty good benefit to the town.
What about the public safety hazard? I mean, it's a dangerous intersection, and on top of that, the land's not hikeable. I mean, this land wouldn't be developed anyway because there's a wetland in the back. I don't know, I don't think it's not good for public safety, is at the end of the day, my belief. You know, I'm obviously it's your decision, I just said my piece, that's all I have to say. As a neighbor who would be benefiting from this buffer, I don't think this is substantial, I don't think this is good enough, to be honest with you. I would drop my personal opposition if they were going to build 5 lots and add these 2 lots to the conservation. For me, that would sway me, and I would say I personally would drop my opposition to it, but obviously it's gonna cost too much money for them to do that. However, I wonder if you force them to build a 7 subdivision with a road, I don't know what the cost difference is for them to build that road and do that subdivision versus these 2 lots. on the yield plan, I believe you guys only got 7, correct?
We have 7
Yeah.
lots on the yield plan, which allows us 7 lots on the conservation subdivision with a 1 lot bonus for 8. And we are only showing 7 lots on the conservation subdivision, so we've already dropped it 1 lot.
Dan.
So let's go back.
No back and forth.
Yeah, but
Thank
again,
you.
essentially what I'm saying is it's 7 lots here versus 7 lots on tradition.
Right.
So it's not, I understand you have a bonus lot, there's no bonus lot here, and again, you didn't give it to the town took it from you, for the record. That was not an act of charity on your part.
Okay. Thank you. Oh, you appreciate it. Would anybody else wish to speak?
I guess
I'll put it back to the board then. Jane?
I thought I was the one you were.
No, go ahead. No,
That's
sorry.
okay. I again look at this and being part of the group that made the conservation development rules. I think this is not what we were expecting things to look like. And, I think there has been a lot of negativity about building new roads because the town has to take them over and pay them. We're not real happy about having more roads to deal with. So I think that it's a bit of a conundrum for us, and I think I know that we're talking about, looking at the conservation easement, rules and regs, and, I think we have a real good example right here why we should. I'm not sure that they can help the abutters today.
Jane, do you think this is better than the Saunders subdivision?
Oh, yeah,
Okay,
but that's a really kinky, so.
where the frontage was 75 feet.
Yeah, he also used the new rules to his
Mhm.
advantage to do something weird.
Would
But
Jane,
then again, we got a 12,000 square foot house, the end of Watchtower Road. And interesting presence, so, and things happen. But I think,
I'll go back to is that, the application before us is being presented based on the ordinance that are in effect at this time. What Jane is saying and what the planning board has as far as part of its work plan is to review the conservation ordinance in its entirety. And it's something that we're planning to do this year. And we would encourage people to either attend the work sessions. Even though the work sessions are for the planning board, but I do open it up to the public at the end. So that not, some people can have input to it as we move along. And I would also encourage to, if we get to a point where we are going to make changes, is that we have the hearings that we put forth to the town, and I would encourage folks to participate in those hearings and to, express their concerns. And in the interim, if you have ideas that you think, that you've seen from other towns or that you know about, would encourage you to also to drop us a line. Drop us an email or give us a reference to something and say, hey, this might be something that the planning board wishes to consider as a huge favor on it. But really right now is the criteria that we have in our ordinances is what we are obligated from which to be able to review and to make a decision. So just that's where we are. All right. If there's no other input from the public, and then I guess we will go through the point approve the application or not approve the application, but in order to do that, we have a series of motions that would have to take place ultimately, and I guess we can start off with the waiver of the phasing under section 7 and C.
He asked if anybody had anything and nobody said anything.
Oh, you.
You can speak.
I'm sorry, I mean, I'll back up here if somebody else has something else to say. Please.
Just like continue speaking and I didn't know what's possible.
Oh, that's
I'm
fine.
sorry.
Yeah, no problem.
No
No
problem at
problem.
all, please. I talk too much is what you're saying. Thank you.
I did not say that. I said you speak quickly and continue to speak. My name is Erin Keller and I own 860 Sugar Hill Road. I'm in a butter to the property. And I just want to reiterate that I would agree with him that having one driveway in would make a significant difference. This road is traveled at really high paces by a lot of people. And I think it's a really significant risk to kids, to animals, to the town of Hopkinton. We're not opposed to houses going there. It's a beautiful, road to live on. I live there. But for me, looking at the safety of our community, and if you're putting 7 houses in there, presumably there are children who are gonna be on that road. And the thought of 7 driveways on a corner that there's, like, if you lived there, you would understand how unsafe it is. And I understand that we can have meetings or whatever, but like, if you lived there and you got to observe the near misses multiple times a day of cars that are doing this, and then you throw additional children and animals and the safety of the town, it doesn't, like, the math doesn't map for me from an ethical, moral standpoint as like a member of this community.
I can't remember, speed limit's 30. Not what they travel, the speed limit's 30 miles an hour on the road. Okay, no, I know.
It's not even close. I mean, I watched, like, we had that meeting, right, last month or the month before. And then the next day, I watched an 18-wheeler almost hit a car on the corner. And like, I understand you can pull the statistics and say, like, this is the number of accidents. Sit there, observe it, watch the number of near misses. And then throw 7 houses with small human. And when that near miss is a small human and not a car, like, there's an ethical, moral issue there for me. My kids don't play on that road because it's not safe.
Right.
But there's a really good chance that small humans are gonna be in some of these houses. And that road looks like a back road and people play on some, I walk on Sunbelt every single day.
I don't know that we've done this in the past or anything else like this, but this is something that maybe from the planning board to the Department of Public Works as well as to the police chief is to identify some of the concerns that we've heard on that particular road. See if other things can be considered. Maybe if the limits, size of vehicles, maybe it changes the speed limit, maybe there's more enforcement, I don't know, but. At the very least, maybe we could, look to see if they can put their heads together to see if there's some sort of mitigation or sort of.
Yeah, and they put the little speed trap things with the, that you drive by, they put them there regularly, right? Like, but down by the water. It's not on the corner, it's not the spot of concern. And it's a significant difference, this corner versus putting one driveway in, one road in with driveways off of it. There's a significant difference for what is experienced on this corner. But
I don't know the answer to it, I really don't. But if we draw to their attention everything and maybe, Dad, try to move this up as far as a priority to be a T. Maybe it's a T with stop sign, I don't know, but those are, I think we can do that.
Yes, definitely.
And And if they wish to have, you know, the planning board give them feedback, of, you know, this meeting, you know, from Anthony and yourself, Aaron, and make sure we can do that. And it is recorded too, so they can pull that up and look at it. We don't have the authority to do that for you. We.
Oh, yeah, and I'm not asking you.
No,
I'm just-
I know you're not, and, you know, if we had more authority, we could do lots of things. That's probably a good thing that we've done, but.
And I'm not asking for that, I'm just saying, I want you. I wanna be heard in this, because when there are 7 driveways. And on the corner, and something happens. I ethically need to have sat here and said this. To you guys.
Thank you.
Thank you for hearing me.
All right, folks. Anybody else? All right, well, you know, then retain a motion with respect to, you know, thinking of going forward. As far as the motion relative to the waiver, as far as the bathing requirements.
Do you need me to tell you?
Yeah.
You got it, good, because there's so many pages that I reviewed and most of it is information. I just would have to find out where.
Just look at the last 2 pages. Thank you, Karen, for organizing it for us. It's on page 6.
No, thank you. Yeah, but I thought there was a place where I outlined what the numbers were.
What do you do?
It was 3-1-1.
Okay.
I'm sorry, 3-3-1.
Oh, I see it.
3 the
Okay.
first year, 3 the second
Yeah.
year, 1 the third year.
Yeah.
So we were asking for 4-3.
And I think the other subdivision last month was 3-1. And they asked for 4.
So you're looking for, I'm sorry, 4, 1, and
4 and then 3.
Right.
4 and 3.
So the 1 from the last year would get taken off.
Okay. Does everybody understand that? You know which 4?
No.
All right, I thought I'd try.
I move that the planning board waive the notification requirements of section 7.10. C of the Hopkins zoning ordinance for the proposed subdivision based on the scale and characteristics of the development. Accordingly, the subdivision may proceed with the construction of 4 single-family residential units between.
So it's basically, when do you think you'll start your construction? Do you want it to, I guess I should say this to the board. Do you want it to be effective tomorrow or how do you want to, what's the time?
First, okay, then, you, sir? April 1st, 2026 and March 31st, 2027. And 3 single-family residential units between April 1st, 2027 and March 31st, 2028.
And if they only build 2 in the second year.
So-
they still could do.
After the way it's written, after the, if they don't do it, they can do all of them at once. If the phasing does not continue,
Right.
because we have to justify the phasing, you know,
The logic behind phasing is if you had
the infrastructure.
8 or 10 subdivisions going down
Right.
in 1 year, that they couldn't all be built out. But
Correct.
as it's been quiet as of late, it's really not a concern.
Something else we're gonna look at.
But we actually, have it written that after the phasing period is up, there is no phasing. And I think legally we couldn't extend it anyways.
So they can't build more than 4 that first year,
Correct.
Correct.
And 3 the next year.
but they could build 1 the first year.
Yep, they can build 1 the first year, 1 the second year, and the rest all 1 year. Yep.
Waiting for a second.
I'll second
I
it.
don't know, maybe.
We have a second. All in favor of approving the waiver, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, the motion to accept the waiver, it goes forward. All right. Next is the need a motion to approve the conditions. And there's a listing of conditions. Would somebody like to make that motion? Sure to read them.
Apparently someone would. I move to grant conditional approval of the conservation subdivision proposing 7 residential lots and 1 lot for open space conservation. Under section 8 of the zoning ordinance, subject to the following conditions based on the application materials submitted. Findings contained in the planning director's report and testimony presented at the hearing.
Section 7.
That's it.
I thought you said 8.
Oh, okay. Section 7.
Okay.
Get it with one of your reading glasses, I think. Do I have to read all the details? Okay.
Only because we have public.
Yeah. Condition 1, conveyance of the open space to the town according to the final subdivision plat. The designated open space lot shall be conveyed to the town of Oxford. Planning board finds that an acceptable deed to the town may be used in lieu of a formal conservation easement, provided that the deed permanently restricts further development and subdivision of the open space lot. The deed specifies that the lot, that the land is able to be used for conservation purposes, including but not limited to timber and forest management, passive recreation by the general public, wildlife habitat improvement, watershed protection, and outdoor and environmental education. Open space shall be managed by the Huntington Conservation Commission.
One additional thing, this would be the place to add, or do you not think so, Mike? There will be expenses with respect to our legal review of the deed and the title. And so that is reimbursed by the applicant.
Yeah, and I was gonna add it as
Oh.
one encompassing the case.
Okay, sorry. Disregard me, what I said. I apologize.
No. What Karen has suggested is a friendly amendment that all expenses, associated with the conveyance of the open space to the town, legal expenses primarily, will be the responsibility of the applicant.
Do we state that? Yes.
Okay.
Well, it's funny because there's no B on this list, so B or 2 would be that the applicant is required to fund any necessary legal or other reviews of the deed for the open space.
That works too.
See, I left that B off for this reason.
Good job.
Thank you.
C or 3, posting restriction, discretion of the Huntington Conservation, admission of the open space lot or portions thereof may be posted against hunting or trapping consistent with conservation management objectives and public safety considerations. D or condition 4, boundary monumentation. All house lot corner bounds, lot 6.1 through 6.7, abutting the designated open space lot 6, shall be set upon approval of the subdivision. Boundary lines between the bounds shall be clearly blazed and painted. Condition 5, identification of conservation land and vegetated buffer. Plastic and metal tags identifying the 100-foot vegetated buffer and conservation land shall be installed periodically on trees along the buffer and boundary lines of the open space lot in a manner acceptable to the Hopkinton Conservation Commission. Condition 6, deed references for residential lots, deeds for lots 6.1 through 6.7 shall reference the open space deed restrictions and identify the abutting land owned by the town as permanently protected conservation land. Condition 7, deed reference for 100-foot vegetated buffer. The deed for lots 6.1 through 6.7 shall state a 100-foot vegetated buffer shall be maintained along the existing public road measured from the edge of the public right of way onto the property. The buffer area shall remain free of buildings, parking areas, and other structures, as well as lawns, leach fields, and detention basins, and shall be maintained in mature forest cover.
Well done. Is there a second?
Second.
Can we have a second? All in favor of approving the application with the motions and waivers that have been, stated here? Please, say,
Aye.
and if you're opposed. And you opposed? Okay, very well. Thank you very much. Thank you, sir. Thank you. And we will, Karen, you and I can chat about how we can set something out to
Police and
the police and
DPW.
to Department of Public Works and make sure that they understand the concerns that were expressed.
Okay.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you.
Traffic study.
Central New Hampshire Regional Planning Commission does them for free. They have done one at the town line. I do know that. I looked at some of them out there when I was answering the question with respect to traffic. I have to look, I can ask Mike, that we're gonna be here for the Conservation Commission meeting, so I'll find out.
Yeah. So maybe that.
That would be good to do. I think the big thing, as we all know, and Jeff in particular knows, because of the cap on the landfill and everything, is having the money to do these roads. And it's gonna take longer to do the T than what we hope for.
There may be other things, restricting the size of, vehicles that can go through. That cut through.
We've been down through that with Ware. And it was, I think we had legal opinions and there was, because it is a through road, there was an issue with respect, because both towns did post it at one point. So, but we'll look at it and we'll definitely reach out to those groups and see.
A dead end at that Hopkinton Ware line.
Sure.
Yeah, it's just.
Put a big toll booth in.
I'll
$10
man,
a trip.
I'll man it.
Taken. Road that comes off Hatfield. Goes to Henniker, now I can't remember the name of the road.
Paul Chill.
Yes. I mean, and I think I don't know if it's better now. Or not, I know that the residents took a lot of action.
Yes. And then I think there was issues with this past rainstorms. And there was a section that had to be reconstructed. Some of those things that nature forces you to do, and I think that's what happened to that road.
Because those two roads are very different,
Mm.
but I know College Hill, there was a lot of uproar about people racing to get to past speed or wherever they're.
Yeah.
And all speeding.
And then the other one that's a T, and the neighbor actually relocated the road last year. Stain Road, that was a Y,
Right.
and she actually made it a T. Yep.
Okay, this really, it's not the finish, is it?
Not quite finished
The
yet.
home fund,
Yes,
because they gave the land, I remember they came.
they and their neighbor worked it out. The homeowner worked with the neighbor, but they funded the entire project.
Cost $75,000 to tell.
To what, Jane?
Plus $75,000 to move the electric pole.
I believe it. Yeah. But that was a Y, so they changed that, but they're working on it. It's just,
Let's ask them to explore.
Okay.
What can be done,
I agree.
lower the speed limits, increase police presence outside.
That diamond there, I think it gives a T intersection. Stuff, if you just get rid of that little island and make Irish Hill go like this and then have Stumfield coming.
I think, yeah, and I think across the street from the intersection is where Dan basically said he was going to cut the brush back anyways. Because the sight distance would be improved for those coming down the hill right now you're coming down the hill and you can't see if a vehicle's coming from Stumpfield and they might want to go on to Sugar Hill heading to Drew Lake and you can't see it until you're right on it, you know? So he talked about adjusting that.
So
So,
and such. I really appreciate your response to the public. The intersection is a separate and related issue,
Hmm.
but it is also very separate from what just came.
Yeah. It's also. They are. I mean, I think we heard them, I think they expressed their concerns. And I don't think anybody would, disagree with their concerns. So, anyways, with that, one of the things as we mentioned that we wanted to talk about, the conservation ordinance, start working on that. And I would suggest, and everybody has a chance to do it ready. Is to set up a work session. And, we, get as many people as we can together, there's no way. 12 minutes, we can go through the whole thing anyway.
and
So,
please look at my memo that I provided you, the February 20th memo. So that I think if you know whether or not you're gonna take the yield plan or formula approach. I think that's key as to my finding other communities that you may like. And then the second discussion was, the open space requirements. I noticed there's a lot of things in our ordinance that are not included in that open space. That are not included, that are not referenced when it comes to that open space. And it's interesting, so if the flowage easement. Should the flowage easement count as building area? Making up the minimum lot size, but you don't allow wetlands to be counted as minimum lot size. So these are things that I think the open space requirements, should it be contiguous, the 100-foot wide qualifier? Do we want to rank some of the conservation? We do right now, some of it. Do we want to include more? Priority mapping? And do we want to retain the 50%? Some towns are more than 50%. Some are, I've seen some that are 45%. So,
did you send that email to me again, please?
oh, I forgot all about that.
It's okay, that's all right.
I'll resend it to everybody just in case, but I thought it was a good starting point, and then we could go from there as far as looking at other communities and their designs.
Well, do we know how many towns around us use the yield plan versus the formula?
A lot of them use the yield plan. The master plan recommends, I think, the formula approach, but it's interesting because everything I read. So you have a situation where a developer can't come in and say, I can get 8 lots when in fact they really can get 7 on the formula approach, because they already know before they get here. I spoke to a number of people, the developers that do 20 lot subdivisions, roads and everything. When they go to buy it, they already know if it's got wetlands. They already know, that. They already know what they can get out of it. They're not, the yield plan is not cumbersome. I've spoken to 4 developers. It's not cumbersome. But what it is easier rather than having them do the formula approach versus the yield plan. But what will happen is when they submit everything showing the wetlands and showing the steep slopes, then we can check their calculations. So maybe not requiring it twice and going the formula approach would be better.
Something to really think about.
Yeah, I spoke to J.H. Spain. I spoke to Bob Pike. I spoke to a lot of them. They're like, we already know before we walk in, we're not buying something and not already doing a yield plan.
Well, that's what they're going to pay.
Yeah.
That Stockwell one was easy conservation subdivision.
The Stockwell, that one, I did see a subdivision plan for it. They did have somebody do one, and I've seen it recently within the last couple of years. And that, if you got that subdivision, oh boy, every driveway was like 5 feet from a property line and everyone had a wetlands crossing. Some had 2 wetlands crossings just for their driveways.
Okay, so shall we try to send it?
Sure. Do you want to look now? I can, or do you want to get back to me?
I don't have my calendar with me, and I will be traveling in April a few times, so maybe. Okay, I'll
So,
get back to you.
okay,
Well, a couple of days, folks.
if you guys could get back to me. And Jeff, you included, because I know you're going to be an alternate.
My power.
Well, the other thing I'd like to mention is that I do want to thank everybody for all the work that went into the warrant articles this year and that they all passed.
Hmm.
Candidly, a lot of work, conservation, backup, conservation committee as far as wetland setbacks and that.
You guys did a lot of work.
That's, you know, I think not only you as a, but also conservation. You know, committee as a whole for the work that they did and for the presentation that I thought was quite good. That was out there and I heard. But I also want to thank Jeff for his service as a select board member and welcoming you as an alternate to the planning board. Thank you. You know, that's. You're a great man.
We'll see how it goes. You may regret it.
Hey, you know. That's. We can only hope.
All right, so you'll get back to me with respect to, if you could get back to me as soon as possible and in April, if you want. All right,
Yeah, I think we start working on them.
and what I'm going to work on in the work plan, you saw a lot of those adjustments that we have to make with respect to number of days, statutory legislative changes that we have to update. I'm gonna make those amendments and come to you for the public hearing and for subdivision and site plan. But the other thing is the private road section. I think that is important, that we can intertwine, we can include that as part of the conservation discussion.
That's an interesting thought, yeah.
But we have to make it in such an incentive that they're wanting to do it. And it may be the design.
Well, if it's a private road that meets certain criteria and the costs associated with it.
Is much lower.
Well, it's gonna be significantly. Yeah.
No, if we can do that, because as Sam was trying to convince them to the next one you're gonna get next month, as Sam was trying to convince them, hi Matt, to do the private road. Remember the gentleman was like, it's gonna be public.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So we gotta make the incentive there. A lot of communities are private.
Just don't mind, send out your thoughts on that too. and
Okay.
We'll start that conversation along with conservation.
Right, and the HOA, the design, the whole thing, so we can make sure. Okay,
Without objection, you adjourn.
Move to adjourn.
Second, all in favor? All right, folks, thank you so very, very much. Aaron, you get a 5-minute break.
yeah, 5 minutes before on to the next one.
Yeah, I put not open that back.
Yeah, I must have sent it as, I sent it an email and I shouldn't have. I was trying to forward an email, you know, and attach it.
Sorry, enough, is it? Weird, so yes, one.
I'm gonna keep one and they're all going to the recycle. No, they're all going to recycle. Thank you, I appreciate it.
Well, thanks.
Hi,
Hi, I was looking to ask a question.
sure,
Mike,
just, yeah,
you prefer, so I'm considering, so I bought a 472 road recently, and I was looking at potentially turning it from single family into 2-family, so I know it needs a special exception. My question is, this would be residential, it's